Hey guys, hoping all is well with everybody. In this video, we're going to be finishing off our Chapter 2 Geology Terminology Review. So without further ado, let's jump into our first definition. Our first definition is tsunami, and that is spelled T-S-U-N-A-M-I. Now a tsunami is giant sea waves caused by large earthquakes, near or beneath a body of water. Now, one thing that I kind of want to illustrate here is, up to this point, we may have gotten the idea that earthquakes only occur on land, with the kind of descriptions and other kind of illustrations we've been making. Earthquakes can occur in water, but one thing I want you to remember is that S waves cannot go through liquids, okay? In other words, bodies of water. So one thing to keep in mind here is that the waves are caused by these, earthquakes, okay? One thing a lot of students may kind of think about when they think of a tsunami is a hurricane kind of related idea. A hurricane is a tropical depression or storm. Tsunamis are directly the result of either earthquakes or volcanic activity. Okay, so it's just one thing to keep in mind, that earthquakes can occur in water. Okay, let's look at our next definition. Our next definition is San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is defined as a major geological fault in California formed by a sliding transform boundary. Now, the San Andreas Fault is very significant, and for a couple of reasons. The first is that it's 1,200 miles long, and it goes down the west coast of California, near the border. The other is that it is the tectonic boundary between the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. Now, remember when we talked about the plate tectonics theory from 1859, that the 8 large plates and other several small plates kind of existed together in this idea of how the crust and these plates kind of existed and interacted together along the crust and upper mantle of the Earth. Okay, so this fault here is significant in that it is the boundary point between two very large plates, the North American and Pacific Plate. Okay. One other thing that we can hammer home here is that near the San Andreas Fault is SAFOD, S-A-F-O-D, which is the San Andreas Fault Observatory at Depth. And that's where a lot of instruments and scales and things that we can use to study the behavior of earthquakes is located. So things like seismographs, scales, and other ways that we can monitor earthquake behavior. Okay, let's look at our next definition. Our next definitions are kind of ones that go hand in hand. So I'm going to draw or write down both definitions, and then I'm going to draw the picture. So the first definition is the focus, which is the point at which an earthquake begins. And then the other definition is the epicenter. And that is the point on Earth's surface directly above the focus of an earthquake. Okay, so the focus is the point at which an earthquake begins, and the epicenter is the point on Earth's surface directly above the focus of an earthquake. So let's say, for example, this is the ground, and here is our fault line. Now, going into under the surface of the Earth, we're going to have this fault line here. And we'll say right here is the focus. Remember, the focus is the point which an earthquake begins. Now, remember, the epicenter is the point on Earth's surface directly above the focus. So following this up to the Earth's surface, the epicenter is right here at this point. Okay? So again, the epicenter is the point on Earth's surface directly above the focus of an earthquake, whereas the focus is the point in which an earthquake begins. Okay? Let's continue with our next definition. The next definition is slickensides. And these are defined as polished fault surfaces. Okay. So what I want you to think about here is when we see the word slickensides, we see the word slick. Something that is very slick is something very hard to either walk on or stay stable on because there's not a lot of friction. So as the result of friction, there's going to be this kind of polished, very smooth surface to these fault surfaces. That's where we get slickensides from. And they lack a lot of friction because they're very slick and by name, very slippery, so to speak. So there's a lot less friction or traction, so to speak, to walk upon, alright, or for an object to remain stable on. Okay? Alright. The last definition that we're going to look at is a scarp. And it is defined as a long, steep slope or a cliff at the edge of a plateau or ridge. So a scarp is a long, steep slope or cliff at the edge of a plateau or ridge. So let's say you had a plateau and kind of a steep kind of cliff or drop. This would be your scarp. Okay. Alrighty. But this is the end of all of our definitions for Chapter 2 Geology, and I'm going to, in the next few videos, do conceptual review. So I'm going to be introducing a lot of diagrams and pictures to really go over the Chapter 2 review and main kind of points and core ideas. But I hope these definition videos helped you guys out. If you have any questions about any of the definitions, please don't hesitate to contact or message me. I'd be more than happy to clarify any of those for you. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourselves.